Yeah. So yes, hi. It's an actually we just started recently because just recently we have been started. Do you have the idea about Python ready? Do you have any idea about Python core concepts of Python? Yes. Yeah. Nandishwar, can you speak?
Yes, sir. No, I am నాకు ఐడియా లేదు అసలు.
Okay, completely new.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, no worries. Just a, do you have an idea about programming, basic programming languages?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So no worries. Just we have been started a little bit. That means only just a 3-4 classes. You can say that. Um, I can just give you some like maybe any Sunday or something like that. If anybody requires some kind of an additional classes, I can arrange them. Just maybe today is your first class, no? So it maybe looks to be a little bit confusion for you. Okay.
Okay.
So it's no worries about that. It may be a little bit confusion, but slowly you will understand the concepts actually, because just only we have been recently started those particular techniques, and you will get the recording videos, whatever the classes you have been got missed. So you can just go through that particular recording videos, and you can just complete of the you can complete of the backups, right? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you want to get that means they will give you a demo videos. But if you really want to take up this course, if you want to take up this particular course, and once if you registered, then we are going to get all that particular backup sessions actually. So just you please discuss that regarding that particular registration, all these things with the backend team. As soon as possible, as soon as if you register, immediately you'll get that particular recording videos team. Okay. Fine, guys. Yes, Ankit, I think you already joined, so I think you don't have any problem. Okay, guys, I just want to confirm one point is the batch has been already started, guys. Started means, see, generally everybody does not joins on the first session itself. So over the time period, so you can see before the festival, that is before the Dasra holidays, we have been started. We have some around 4 or 5 people are there. But now I think almost all 14 people already has been got registered, and another 4 or 5 guys I think they are ready to register. Actually, they're ready to register. Like that slowly, because people will come to know about the batches, and almost all up to maybe some around 10-20 days, new people will be joining actually. So first 10 or 20 days you will be going a little bit slowly, we'll go them, and after that we'll just close up the batch. Maximum will allow the students to join only up to the end of this week. Almost all we have started with our regular classes every day. 1.5 hour class is happening almost all. We already started the regular sessions. We already started the main concepts you have been started. So guys, if anybody has been missed that particular previous classes, don't worry about them, because these are all beginning concepts only. So you need not to worry about all that particular missing classes. So let me know what is your problems and all these things. I can just give you some alternative, maybe taking some extra backup classes on Sundays or something like that, or it may be something like extra videos I will be giving, and all these things I will be doing this actually, guys. Okay, fine, guys. Yeah, I'll tell you guys actually how to get the access, because see, if generally what we'll do is once the batch was closed, then we'll start giving the access. Then generally we'll give the access to them, because see, today if you see some people has been registered, some people are yet to register actually. So if I ask them to create an account and ask them to because I'll ask them to please register in the DurgaSoft online. So but they don't get the access unless and until they get registered actually. So once the batch was closed, generally I'll give the details about them, like how to register and how to get the Python videos actually, guys. I'll tell you all those particular things. Just for a timing, just go ahead. That means just whatever I'm discussing, go ahead. We'll discuss about all those particular applications actually. I told you, no, almost all by the end of this week I'll close up, by this week I'll close up the session. I'll close up the joiners, new joiners, and I'll close the session. I'll close this batch, and we are planning a new batch on morning 7 a.m. maybe in the coming next weeks. So we want to close this batch, and everything else settle down by this end of this week. By Saturday, I'll settle down everything, guys. Like something like a Telegram group for our batch and these things. But please, guys, if anybody are yet to register, please get registered as soon as possible so that you can get all that access as soon as possible. Okay, fine, guys. So guys, if anybody has been joined for the today's class, guys, once again I'm telling that. So maybe you find a little bit confusion for the today's class because suddenly I'm going to be starting with some other applications actually. So I might find a little bit difficulty. So don't worry, just follow up 1 or 2 days of classes. You'll understand what I'm talking about. So right, guys. So yesterday we have been discussed about object-oriented programming structures actually, guys. What is object-oriented programming? So we have been discussed about like prior to object-oriented, what type of programming styles we have. So we are having something called as a procedural style of programming. It is going to be a kind of an procedural style of programming. We used to have it actually. So what is a problem with the procedural style? What is an advantage with the object-oriented style? The only difference is actually, guys, in an easiest way to understand when it comes to the implementation, in procedural style, all entities, that means whatever the entities we are working. So whenever we are working for an enterprise, actually, guys, whenever we are going to be working for an enterprise, so there are different entities are going to be there. Like for example, something like an employees, something like an departments, something. Whenever we talk about them, what are their particular sales, etc., etc. So all of them, we used to define them. We used to work within the same scope, with the same level only. We used to work with them. Due to that, what will happen here is there is a lot of conflict. Okay, there is a lot of conflict between one entity and other entities. So whenever it comes to the object-oriented style, what is object-oriented style says is, each entity we are going to be defined at a different scope or a different level, we can say that. So all the employees is going to be, we'll treat it as an one entity. Here we are going to call it as, each entity is going to be nothing but we'll call it as a class. So let us say that all the departments is going to be one class actually, and all the sales under another class. So there is no conflict between them. So everybody is working within their particular scope. So whatever all the manipulations which we require, we'll define under the employees class. Whatever the manipulations we define here, which is under the department class. Like this, everything we are going to be defining within their particular scope, we are going to define it actually. So yesterday I have defined some kind of an example. So what I told you actually, guys, what is a class, what is going to be an object? What is a class and what is going to be an object actually, guys? As I told you, class is going to be nothing but a specification about a particular item. A specification about a particular item. Like we can see, whatever the mobiles we are using, all of them are mobiles only. They all belongs to the same class called as a mobile class. But each mobile is going to be one instance from the mobile specification. So it is going to be something like an class mobile. So whatever the entities or whatever the attributes that are required, what is a class contains? It contains some attributes. It is going to contain some kind of a methods. So what is an attribute? Attributes are going to be nothing but the variables which are used to hold some data, just like a variables actually, guys, which are used to hold the data actually. What is a methods? Methods are going to be nothing but the functions which are used to do some manipulation with this particular, whatever the attributes and with this particular class. But these methods and these attributes are going to be limited only to this particular class only. Class means directly we cannot access it. We'll create an object of the class. As I told you, whenever I said mobile, which is going to be X is equal to new mobile. So it is going to be X is an object actually, guys. X is going to be here the object, and the mobile is going to be nothing but it's a class. So once if you create an object from this particular class, so X will automatically gets assigned with all these kind of an attributes, automatically the attributes and the methods what we are going to be getting actually, guys. So don't worry about this, because even if you understand and don't understand it actually, guys, it does not matter actually. It does not matter. We have to know how to use it. You just have to know how to use it actually, guys. Apart from that, nothing is going to be gets required actually. Just we have to know how to use them. Apart from that, nothing to know about those particular techniques actually. Okay. So now the same thing whenever I create some other class, actually, yesterday we have been discussed about that class student is there. So whenever we talk about the class student, so what is the attributes within the mobile? Like what is going to be the color, what is going to be the make, what is going to be the size, etc., etc. So now X will also contains the same attribute, but when it talks about the student, it is going to be like ID, it is a name, let us say, which is going to be marks 1, marks 2, which is going to be marks 3. How many you require it actually? All these things we have to define it actually. So whenever I define something like a student Y is equivalent to new student actually. Now the Y is going to be an instance of the particular, it's an object which is created from a class called as a student class. So now Y automatically contains all the attributes and whatever the methods which are defined under this class actually. And I told you how to access the methods actually, guys, how to access the attributes. X dot attribute, X dot attribute, X dot, which is going to be method. So please find the difference, guys. You have to call a method by using open and close parentheses. Sometimes they will take some input arguments because there are some nothing but some functionalities. They'll take some input. Actually, the method is used to do some manipulation with this X object. You want to do some manipulation with this particular X object, this method will work. Attribute is going to be telling about some methods, some information about that particular object actually. So attributes are variables, guys. And whenever we talk about a method, there are the functions. Only general thing is, but these variables and these methods will work only under the scope of that object only, which is going to be X. These methods and these attributes are going to work under the scope of which is going to be Y actually. That is what we have been got discussed about. So if anybody, that means just if you want to learn a little bit more about them, if you want to get a little bit more clarity about them, I have some online resources just for the timing. If I have a group, I can share you the details, but right now we didn't has a not yet created our group platform. So I'm going to telling about this one, guys. It is going to be W3 schools. I think all of you have an idea about that because there's a common platform actually, guys. Almost all from this W3 schools, you can learn almost all any kind of a language, guys. Almost all languages are going to be there actually, guys. Not just like 1, 2, 3. Even you can learn machine learning. You can learn data science. You can learn all these particular applications actually, guys. XMLs, web building, server side, JavaScripting, programming, Python, Java, C, C++, C#, R language. Okay, Go, Django. It is going to be TypeScripting. So HTML, which is going to be something like this actually, guys. So go to the Java, guys. Java is the best option. Even in Python also we can learn it, but go to the Java tutorials, guys. No need to learn all these things, guys. I'm not asking about Java tutorial, Java syntaxes, Java outputs, and Java comments. There we can see something what we are going to call it as something called as an OOPS concept. OOPS is a common concept, guys. Java OOPS concept, Python OOPS concept does not differ. It is Java OOPS. Just I'll tell you guys, which is going to be 4 options. These 4 pages you have to learn, guys. OOPS, classes and objects, attributes, and methods. Isn't it, guys? These are the 4 options which we have been got discussed. So I'm just telling that if you want to get a little bit more clarity about them, so better to go through these particular options actually. Yes. Once just I'll quickly give a review of all these things. OOPS stands for object-oriented programming. So as I already told you, procedural language is about writing some procedures or methods that perform some operations of the data, while object-oriented programming is about creating the objects that containing both the data as well as methods. Data is nothing but attributes. Methods are nothing but the functionalities. So object-oriented programming having several advantages are going to be there. OOPS is going to be faster and easy to execute. Okay, fine, that is the case. And main advantage is actually, guys, OOPS provides you a clear structure for the program. A clearly structured program will be there. So this is a class. This is a second class. This is a third class. So this class is inherited from here. So everything like in structured way, we can see it actually. Okay. So apart from that, okay, this we don't want to talk about the Java code actually. OOPS make it possible to create fully reusable applications with less code and a shorter development time. So why it is a less code I have shown you actually, guys. If I want to work with, let us say something around 50 objects of the same class, no need to define for 50 times. Define it one time, use it as many times you can use it. So what is a class? What is an object? Simply I told you, class is a specification. Object is going to be nothing but the instance of the class actually. Okay, so have a look at this class fruit. So every fruit is having a shape, every fruit is having a taste, every fruit is going to be having something which is going to be a color or shape and a taste and etc will be there. So we are talking about the fruits. What are the different types of the fruits actually? Apple is a fruit. So it is fruit apple is equals to new fruit. A fruit banana is equals to new fruit. Fruit mango is equals to new fruit. All these are coming from the same class called as a fruit class. Same as it is class car. Objects, Volvo, Audi, Toyota, Maruti, Zen, whatever it may be. We are having some different objects are there. So what we can see it actually, guys, a class is a template for an object. It's a specification about an object. An object is an instance of a class actually. When the individual objects are created, they automatically inherit the variables and methods from that particular class. So just 3-4 pages actually, guys, theory concept. It's only just a theoretical concept actually, guys. You really don't require to write any particular code actually. So what is going to be a class? What is going to be this one actually, guys? Something you can see some kind of an applications. So creating a class, if you want to verify practically also actually, guys, we have something option called as and try yourself. You can try to write the code actually, guys. They are defining some class called as a main. We don't worry about them. So we are not worried about that particular code. I told you now, guys. There is a class called as a main class. It contains a method, an attribute called as an int x equals to 5. So main my object 1 is equals to new main 1. This is object 1. Main my object 2 is equals to new main, which is going to be object 2 actually, guys. Can you see my object 1.x, my object 2.x? That is the way how we are going to be working with them. So if you want, you can try those examples actually, guys. We are having some examples. Create an object of a class, object of my class called as an my object. You can define it actually, guys. How do you create it actually, guys? It is going to be my class, which is going to be nothing but my object, O capital, guys. My object is equals to, which is going to be nothing but, it is going to be new my class. Just for a small testing actually, guys. Submit your answer actually, guys. Okay, so something like that we are going to be gets working with this kind of an applications actually. So it is going to be just for your practice. You need not to write all that particular codes and all these things. We don't require it actually, guys. So what are an attributes? Attributes are nothing but variables, guys. Whenever I define a variable within the class, that is going to be what it is going to becomes nothing but an attribute. If I define a method, so this is how do you access them, guys? My object.x. If you want, we can work with them. You can set the value, you can get the value, you can set the values actually. Examples, what we can do that. Don't worry about this final. What do you mean to say final? Leave it. We don't worry about that. And what is going to be the methods actually, guys? These are the methods actually. Methods are nothing but just the functions actually, guys. Just the functions which we are going to be defining it actually. Okay. So if you want, we can work with them. Don't worry about static and public, all these things. It's not required actually, guys. This is how we are going to be working with this actually. Okay. So nothing is going to be there. Just we have to just understand what is a class, what is a method, what is going to be an attribute. Actually, all these are not required, guys. In Python, we don't require all these things actually. Just we have to understand what is a class. If we just understand that, that is sufficient. Class is like a specification about a particular object. Object is nothing but the instance of a class. Whenever I create an object, automatically there will be some set of attributes and there are going to be some set of methods are there. Okay, guys. Now coming to the discussion, why we have been, why we are working with all these things. Actually, why I have been explained all this particular concept, because Python is also an object-oriented programming. Python is also going to be an object-oriented programming language. It's an OOPS concept actually, guys. Python also follows an object-oriented programming style. Now see, I'm not going to create any classes, guys. Don't worry. We are not going to create any classes at all. We don't create any classes. We don't create any objects by ourselves. Do you remember whenever I said I equals to 10 and whenever I said which is going to be type of I, it is saying that it is a class called as an integer class. Initially, I said that it is a data type because in every language we studied, integer is a data type, float is a data type, string is a data type, and bool is a data type. Even whenever I created something like an x is equivalent to something like 10, 20, 30, 40. Whenever I said what is going to be the type of the x, simply it said that it is going to be something called as it is a class called as an list class actually. It said that it is a class called as a list. Everything is saying that it's a class only. But initially we discussed that there are data types. So slightly it will take some time to understand it actually, guys. But once if you understand the base concept, Python is a very, very simple concept only. Now have a look at this one. Actually, initially to make it easy, I said that first day itself, if I said that there are classes, we'll get confused with that. What is class? What is method? That's why I said that it is a data type. But actually, they are not data types actually, guys. Anything in Python is going to be treated as an object. They are not data types actually, guys. They are objects. Every object is going to be defined from a class. So integer is a class actually, guys. So in Python, already there is an integer class is already defined. They already defined it actually, guys. Same as it is class, which is going to be nothing but it's a float. These are all predefined classes, guys. We need not to write any code. We don't define any classes actually, guys. Whenever I said class, which is going to be str, it is going to be something like an class str actually, guys. Same as it is class list. Again, it is going to be defined some methods and attributes within the list actually, guys. Hope you understood the trick. Hope you understood the concept actually, guys. Everything is going to be an object. I said I is equal to 10. Here I is an object, which is going to belongs to a class called as an integer class. X is an object, which is going to belongs to a list class. But don't get confused that, sir, you didn't create any object anywhere. In Python, we don't do it actually, guys. Whenever I said I equals to 10, simply to understand it in equivalent way, I equals to 10 means, just to understand the concept. Internally, it is integer I is equal to new integer. Just you can understand like this actually, guys. Integer I is equivalent to new integer. That means I is created as an object from the class called as an integer class. Whenever I said x equals to some list of values like this, internally what happened actually, guys? Internally, it is going to be list x is equivalent to, which is going to be nothing but it's a new list. That means automatically whenever you assign a value like this, internally it is going to be creating an object. So x is an object actually, guys. Slowly I'll clarify one by one. Slowly I'll clarify one by one. So x is an object which is going to belongs to the particular list class. Sir, I didn't define any list class. I didn't write any code for the list class. It is a predefined class. It's a predefined, guys. That means already Python has been defined this particular class action. That is what we are going to call it as an, which is going to be class. That is the reason why we have been got discussed about all these object-oriented programming style. You have to just understand the style, guys. You need not to understand the concept. Just we have to understand the style. I don't make you to create a classes. I don't make you to create any objects also. Simply I said I equals to 10. So whenever I said S is equivalent to, which is going to be hello, we know that now S is an object of which class, which is going to nothing but, which is going to belongs to nothing but a string class. So internally what has been happened equivalently, if you say that it is going to be string S is equivalent to, which is going to be nothing but it is new string. Something like this actually. String SC is equivalent to which is going to be new string. Internally, this has been happened. We don't do it actually, guys. Internally, that has been happened. So SC is an object actually. SC is an object actually, guys, which is going to belongs to a particular class called as a string class. That is the reason whenever we are talking about, whenever I said type, actually I said that type is going to tell you the data type. It is not data type actually, guys. Type is going to returns the class of the object. It is going to returns the class of that particular object it is going to belongs to actually, guys. So that is going to be how we are going to be gets working with this particular technique actually, guys. No, there is no data types in Python. We call everything is going to be a class actually. There is no concept of data types. Everything is going to be class only. So integer is a class. It's going to be string is a class. Float is a class. Everything is going to be class only, guys. We don't call it as a data type. Okay, Vinay. So initially, to make you understand, we'll say that it's a data types, but actually there are not going to be any data types actually. Okay, there are not going to be any data types actually. That's why I said no. Slowly, I will connect each and every point one by one will connect actually. Okay, so whenever I said I equals to 10, I is an object from the class called as an integer class. Now what is going to happen in this class? We are going to be having some attributes and we are going to be having some methods actually. So how to access these attributes and how to access these methods? You know the technique. I is an object, I dot attribute name, I dot what is going to be the method name actually. Okay, please be online, guys. Just give me 2 seconds of time. Not just 10 seconds of time. I will be back, guys. Just please give me a minute of time. Right, guys. Okay, guys. Let's continue, guys. So whenever we have been set I equals to 10, immediately all these attributes and all these methods will automatically associated with the I. So if you want to access any attributes, you know that I dot attribute name, I dot method name. Same as it is whenever I said S equals to hello. So whatever the methods and whatever the attributes that are defined in this string is automatically assigned with the S. So S dot, I dot, X dot. So that's why we have been seen about them. So yesterday I shown you the application, guys. So let me open the idle. So guys, who has been missed the previous classes, you can install the Python actually, guys. Just a minute once, I'll just quickly tell you how to install the Python actually, guys. So we can install the Python from python.org. So please download this particular python.org actually, guys. So just go to python.org. So open python.org. Install this particular python.org actually, guys. From here you can download it. It's a very small software, guys. It is actually only for beginners, but for advanced we don't use it. So downloads, we can just download the Python, which is going to be 3.10.8 actually, guys. I think I'm using 3.10.3. No worries. Just download and install it, guys. Just a hardly less than 30 MB of space. Once if you install the Python, So you can find it actually, guys. Go to the Python software. There is a Python software is there. There you can find this particular ID, which is going to be IDLE, which is going to be nothing but IDE. So you know what is going to be an IDE actually, guys. It is going to be integrated development environment. It is integrated development learning environment. Ideal. What is what we can say that. So you can directly open from here. What I did is I just opened the search button. I searched it for the ideal instead of going there. Same thing I have been opened from here, guys. Anything is a fine, guys. So just for the guys who has been missed the installation class, I'm talking about that. Now have a look at this one, guys. I said I equals to 10. What is the type of the I? It does not say that it is going to be data type integer. It's a class integer. Do you want to check, guys? I dot. See, guys, you are going to be getting a list of methods and attributes actually. So many are there actually, guys. These are all predefined. These are all predefined. I'm not writing any class called as an integer class manually by myself. I said S is equivalent to, which is going to be something like an hello. I said, which is going to be, what is the type of the S actually? What is the type of the S? It is going to be a class called as a string class, say S dot. Automatically, we can see a lot of methods and we can see a lot of attributes, what we can say that actually. We'll study them. What is an attribute? What is a method? We'll see them actually. But for the timing, we can just see this kind of an applications. Can you see? There are so many methods are there. We'll see them, guys. We'll study them actually. Okay. Even whenever we talk about the X is equivalent to nothing but I have taken, we already studied the list actually, guys. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, something. I said what is going to be type of the X actually, guys. What is going to be the type of the X? You can see that the type of the X is going to be nothing but what we are going to be seeing this actually. So it is not saying that it is going to be data type. It is going to be a class called as a list class. It is going to be a class what we are going to call it as a list class. What we are going to be gets talking about this actually, a list class. It is going to be nothing but it is going to be a list class what we are going to be gets talking about that, right? So once if you see this application actually, guys, once if you see this application, you can say that. Now you say X dot. Actually, our target is, guys, actually our target is to study these methods. To study these methods. But if you want to study what is a method, if you want to study what is that method, first of all, we have to know what is a method first of all. So these are all the methods which are associated with the list class. So whenever I create an object of a list class, automatically all these methods will be associated with them. But what is the purpose of these methods actually, guys? Only to manipulate with this X object. For example, there is a Y list is there. Y dot. So X dot will perform the operations only on X. Y dot will perform only the operations on the Y. If I do something like X dot, it does not do any operation on the Y. If I do Y dot, it does not performs any operation on the X. So something like that, we are going to be gets working. Hope you got that particular concept actually. Slowly practice them, we'll understand that application. But to get a clear understanding, guys, I can show you I dot, but you can see there are so many are there actually, guys. You are having so many are there. It's not just one or two. So you can see so many are there and some of them you can't understand it also. Just to understand the concept actually, guys, just to understand the concept, I'll take one example. I'm going to take a class which is out of our discussion. I already told you, but it is never used it actually, guys. That is nothing but I said X is equivalent to 3 plus, which is going to be 4J. Actually, it is a complex class actually, guys. It is going to be nothing but it's a complex class. Actually, we don't use complex numbers in our machine learning or something like that. We don't use any complex classes. We don't use it actually. We don't use a complex classes at all. But why I'm using this complex classes, just it is to understand. It is to understand what is a method, what is an attribute. To understand that, I'm taking this example, guys. It is not that means we are not interested to find out. We are not interested to use this particular classes actually. We don't use it actually, guys. We don't use it actually, guys. Later we are going to be gets working with them. Later we'll see them actually, guys. Now I'm not going to be using them actually. Okay. But what exactly this is going to be meant for? So to make you understand that, we'll be having a discussion about that. We'll have a discussion about that. So we know that x is equivalent to 3 plus 4j is going to be nothing but x is an object actually, guys. X is going to be nothing but it's an object belonging to which class actually, guys? It's a complex class. So why I have taken this complex class? Because this class is containing very few members. That means internally it is going to be like this actually, guys. Class which is going to be complex. It contains two attributes, guys. Two attributes are there, and there is going to be one method is there. That's it actually, guys. Only one method is there. Two attributes, and there are going to be one method is there. What are the two attributes, guys? Very simple. It is real, and other one is going to be image. And the other one method is going to be nothing but it's a conjugate. Conjugate is a method actually, guys. Hope all of you are able to follow, guys. There is a predefined class called as a complex class. It's a predefined class. Python already defined it with two methods, two attributes. One is a real, one is an image, that is imaginary, and a method called as a conjugate. Now, whenever I said x equals to 3 plus 4j, internally what has been happened, guys? It's easy to understand. Complex x is equivalent to, which is going to be new complex. So it has created one object x, which is going to belongs to the class called as a complex class. Just like class yesterday I told you, class which is going to be nothing but it's a student. Whenever I said which is going to be student, x is equivalent to new student, automatically all these attributes and all these methods are going to be associated. Now, x is going to be automatically associated with this. It's a reference to this particular class actually. Automatically, x can access two attributes and x will contain a method actually. So we know that actually in mathematics, we are going to write it as an 3 plus, which is 4. I will write it actually. We'll write it like a 3 plus 4i actually. But in here, we are going to write it as 3 plus 4j. J can be written in a capital case, or even you can write it in a capital case, lowercase. Both of them are allowed, guys. Both of them are allowed. Now observe carefully, guys. I am asking two attributes. There are two attributes are there. You know that complex will contain two values. One is a real value. This 3 is going to be nothing but it's a real value. 4 is going to be nothing but it's an imaginary value actually, guys. It's a real value and an imaginary value. It's only out of the discussion, guys. But it is why I'm using this complex classes to clearly make you understand what is a method and what is an attribute. Just 5 minutes it will take, guys, not more than that. Now look at this one. Now I want to know some attributes. Attributes are nothing but some specification, guys. I want to know some specification about this particular x. So what we have to do, guys? I want to know the real value. X is equivalent to 3 plus 4j, guys. X is equivalent to, which is going to be 3 plus, which is 3 plus, which is going to be 4j. Either you write capital case, lower case is allowed, or even which is going to be, let us say, which is going to be 5 plus, which is going to be 10j. Both of them are going to be allowed actually, guys. So if you want, I can print the value of x as well as I can print the value of y. Both I can print it actually. What is the type of the x? Type of the x is equivalent to nothing but it's a complex class. What is going to be the type of the y? That is also going to be a complex class actually. Both of them are going to be complex classes only. Both of them are going to be a complex classes. Now have a look at that. Now we are going to be having a look at them. So once you create it, x is also belongs to a complex class, y is also going to belong to complex class. So whatever the methods are associated with the x, same thing is associated with the y. There is no change at all, guys. So whenever we created two objects from the same class, the methods and attributes will be exactly the same because all of them has been defined from the same class. They're not defined from different classes. So as I already told you, complex class contains there are going to be 3 members are there, 2 attributes and 1 method is there. So automatically x is also associated with that particular 3 members. The y is also going to be associated with the 3 members. Now carefully look at the concept, guys. So if you want to understand what is a method and what is an attribute, this is going to be the best example actually, guys. Till you understand what is a method, what is an attribute, you better to use this complex class. Now have a look at this one. Simply, I want to find out what is the real value in the X. We know that. We know that, guys, but whenever how do you represent for a computer, for how to represent in this particular programming part? Simply, I'm going to say, guys, look at this one, guys, X dot. Actually, when you said dot, automatically we have to get all the list actually, guys. All the list we have to get it. As I told you now, guys, real and image, these are going to be two attributes. Conjugate is going to be method actually, guys. Conjugate is a method. Real and image are going to be nothing but there are the attributes. Say X dot, which is going to be real. So it is going to represent the real value of the complex, guys. So what is X dot real actually, guys? It is 3.0. What is going to be X dot, which is going to be imaginary value, guys? It is going to be 4.0. Hope all of you are able to understand that. These are two attributes, guys. These are the two attributes. These attributes represent some values. X dot real, it's a 3.0. X dot image, it is going to be 4.0. Got it, guys? Now, if you want to know what is the real value of Y, you have to say same procedure. Y dot real, Y dot image. So X and Y are belonging to same object, guys. So whatever the attributes we use it on X, same attributes we are going to use it on Y. They can be represented with the Y. There is no difference at all. There is going to be no difference at all is going to be taking place actually. No, we don't use it. So it's not that in real time nobody will use this. Mathematicians, those people are going to be users. But for with our perspective, like we are learning about data science and data analytics, we are not going to use the imaginary value. But we know that in mathematics we have them, guys. In mathematics we use this. The mathematicians will use this, and some representation of scientific methods. They use as a complex data type. So Python is not like which is going to be for a specific purpose language. Python is a general purpose language. So Python has been given all these kind of options. We may not use it, but somebody may use it. Okay, fine, Tushar. Yes, guys, while you're sending the messages, guys, as already instructed you. So please send whenever we are texting, please send it to everyone, guys. At the bottom, you can see there is an option called as send to everyone is there. It is already enabled so that everybody will be on the same page. Everybody will be on the same page because everybody will be understanding what I'm talking about that. Otherwise, other people cannot understand what they are talking about. So guys, Tushar is asking, saying that is really complex data types will be used in the real-time solving problems. We may not use it, but some other people may use this actually. It's not that Python will be used only by a data scientist or only by a data analyst. So it can be for scientific computing, they will be used. Okay, fine, guys. Sorry, guys. So hope you understood the difference, guys. So whenever I said X dot real, I'll get only the information about the X only. Whenever I said Y dot real, I'll get only the information about the Y. So see that real and imaginary value, one scope is X, another scope is Y. Like that, we can say that. Now, what is going to be a conjugate? So if you remember the mathematics actually, guys, if you remember the mathematics actually, what is going to be conjugate? So generally, what is going to be conjugate of 3 plus 4j? Conjugate is going to be nothing but 3 minus 4j actually. So conjugate is a method actually, guys. It is not telling about some information about that. So conjugate is going to be doing some manipulation. So conjugate is basically, guys, it is going to be the inverse, not inverse actually, the negation of the imaginary value actually. It has to negate the imaginary value. So output of conjugate is going to be 3 minus 4j. But how to represent the conjugate of X actually? We have to say X dot conjugate. If you want, you have to say X dot conjugate. If you want to conjugate the Y, then it is going to be Y dot conjugate. Hope you understood this particular technique actually, guys. So it is going to be, I think 5 minus, which is going to be 10j is going to be the result actually, guys. Let me check it out, guys. These are the methods actually, guys. These are the methods actually. X dot. So one of the most confusion for most of the people is, sir, how can you remember these? So today's class is only 3. Tomorrow's class may be 10. Next class may be 100. Sir, how can you remember? You need not to remember. You need not to by heart them, guys. You don't by heart them. Just at least we'll be having some idea, guys. Okay, so these are the methods we have. So whenever we want to do some manipulation, so we will try to find out which method is going to be there. So once if you have an idea, you can search for the required method and we can solve the particular problem. But conjugate is not an attribute, guys. It is a method. So method cannot be called like this. Can you see? Conjugate is a built-in method called as a conjugate of a complex object. It is going to be there. Can you see, guys? It's a complex object. It is not saying that complex data type. It is a method. It's a built-in method conjugate of a complex object. It is going to be there. It's a method. So what we have to say? S dot. What is X actually, guys? 3 plus 4J. X dot, which is going to be conjugate actually. So can you see, guys, what it is going to be returning actually? It is going to be returning, which is going to be 3 minus, which is going to be 4J is what it is going to be returning actually, guys. That is returning 3 plus 4J, and this is going to be returning, which is going to be 3 minus 4J, it is going to return. So don't say conjugate of X. So this is not like, if I say conjugate is a method, conjugate is a function, guys, we'll use like this. So if it is a function means we'll use like this actually, guys, conjugate of X. I said length is a function actually, guys. So I can say length of X actually, or I can say length of which is going to be some I, whatever it may be, guys, does not matter with that. Length is not a method. Length is a function. Type is a function. Print is a function. But these are what I'm talking about, methods. So we have to say X dot, which is going to be conjugate. So you can see this, guys. What is going to be Y dot? So see, whenever I said which is going to be Y dot, guys, only 3 methods, that 2 methods and 1 attribute. Sorry, 2 attributes and 1 method. Y dot conjugate, what is the Y value? 5 plus 10J. We are going to get 5 minus 10J. Something like this, guys. So you can see Y multiplied by, it is Y dot conjugate. Y multiplied by Y dot conjugate. What is Y value? It is 5 minus 10J. Y value is 5 minus 10J multiplied by, I am saying that Y dot conjugate. What is Y dot conjugate returns? It is going to returns nothing but 5 plus 10J. So we know the simple maths actually, guys. A plus B into A minus B. It is going to be 5 square, A square minus B square, guys. It is going to be 10J square actually. So 5 square is 25 minus, hope you all of you remembered, guys. J is equal to square root of minus 1. So J square is equivalent to minus 1 actually, right? So it is going to be 100J square. So J square is minus 1, no? So it will become plus actually, guys. So it is going to become 125 plus, there is no imaginary value. So it is going to be 125 plus, which is going to be 0J is an output, what we get it actually. Hope you understood you can do it next. You can simply do the mathematics. This is X. This is going to be Y dot conjugate. So Y dot conjugate is a method. So X into, I said Y dot conjugate. So I'm not bothered about what is the result, but it is going to be 3 into 5. Sorry, 3 into 5 is going to be 15. 4 into 10, which is going to be nothing but it is going to be minus, which is going to be 40. So 15 plus 40, I can say that 15 plus 40 actually, guys, which is going to be 55 will be the result. That is one thing I can say. That is one thing I can say. Remaining also we can do it actually, guys. 3 into 10J is going to be minus 30J. 4 into 5J is going to be nothing but 20J. So it is going to be nothing but minus 10J because it is going to be 20 minus 30. So indirectly, it is going to be how much we have been calculated, guys, which is going to be 15 plus 40, which is going to be 55 minus, which is going to be 10J. If I was not wrong, that is an output actually. 55 minus 10J. So hope all of you remembered how to do the A plus B into B plus C. How do you do the calculation? I didn't done anything, guys. 3 into 5 is 15. 4 into 10 is going to be 40. J square minus. So 40 minus 40 plus 40. So 40 plus 15 is 55. I had done this. 3 into minus 10J is going to be minus 30J. 4J into 5 is going to be nothing but 20J. So it is minus 30 plus 20. It is going to be minus 10. Then that's over. So whenever I do X into Y actually, guys, then it is going to nothing but it is going to becomes nothing but 15 minus remaining remains the same, but it is going to be nothing but 3 into 5, 15. This is going to be, guys, it's going to be plus actually. 3 into 5 is going to be 15. And it is going to be 3 into 10, which is going, sorry, 4 into 10 is going to be 40. But J square will become minus. So it is going to be nothing but 15 minus, which is going to be 40. So it is going to becomes nothing but minus 25 actually. So I don't want to waste that time. Minus 25 plus, it is going to be 50 J is the answer what we can say. Yes, it's going to be school maths only. It is going to be, we have to recap all the school maths. It's not a complicated one. Okay. Yes, it is. It's not just like there are product of two complex numbers, guys. There are product of two. X is a complex number. Y is a complex number. Y dot conjugate is also complex number. So it is going to be just product of two. You can do it, guys. X plus Y, X minus Y, all the calculations. You can do it actually. So it is going to be X plus Y. It is X minus Y. We can do that. X multiplied by Y. We can do it actually. Everything is the same concept. Okay. So the idea here is, guys, to make you understand what do you mean to say a method. So what do you mean to say a method? What do you mean to say it is an attribute? So complex class, any object which is belonging to the complex class will be associated with two attributes and one method is there. Like that, not only for complex, any class you create, any object you create, they will be associated with some methods and with some attributes. Anyhow, I'll discuss about them. X is equivalent to, I said, which is going to be hello. Now, whenever I said X dot, now observe carefully, guys. X is an object of a string class. Now, if I said X dot, which is going to be real, we'll get an error. If we get X dot image, we'll get an error. If I said X dot, which is going to be something like an conjugate, we'll get an error. Because this real imaginary conjugate methods are only going to work on the objects of complex class. Now, X is not a complex class now. X is a string class. Can you see? String object having a no attribute called as a real. String attribute having a no object called as an attribute called as an image. Or string object does not have any attribute called as an conjugate. Hope you understood that trick actually, guys. We can understand that particular trick actually, guys. So that is going to be how we are going to be handling this kind of a techniques, what we are going to be working. So one mandatory thing actually, guys, you should know how to differentiate between an attribute and a method. Without knowing them, you cannot go forward, guys. That means that is not a big matter. That is going to be not a big problem at all. You will get some errors actually, guys. You will get a doubt, sir, how I come to know that this is a method, how I come to know that it is an attribute, something like that. For example, if you say like this actually, guys, for example, X is equivalent to, oh, sorry, what happened? X is equivalent to, which is going to be 3 plus, which is going to be 4J. Sorry, it is going to be 3 plus, which is going to be 4J. Now what I'm going to do, 4J, not I, it is J actually, right? This is X. Now X dot, which is going to be image, or X dot, which is real. So attribute should be called like this, guys. If I call like this, you will get an error. Simple, remember, guys. If you are getting an error saying that something object is not callable, understand that it is not an attribute. You cannot call it. You cannot callable. You cannot call this kind of a real, because this real is not a method. It is an attribute. So understand that. Not only here, anywhere if you remember this error actually, guys, if you get this error, so and so object is not callable, means that you try to understand that it is going to be an attribute. So you have to just change it to X dot real. But whenever I said conjugate like this, just like an attribute, we don't get any error, but we'll get a kind of a warning. So this warning is very clear. It's a built-in method. So you say conjugate. Right? Over. Right, guys. Yes, we are going to be working, that is a little bit a higher level actually. Vectors and all these things, whenever we go for the machine learning, Bharat, when you go to the machine learning and all these things, then we are going to be working with the vectors concepts. Okay, fine. So hope all of you got an idea, guys. What do you mean to say method? What do you mean to say an attribute actually? Luckily, we have one option actually, guys. We are very lucky to work with this. In Python, okay, everything is in class only, but generally, guys, attributes are going to be very small in numbers. So in this class, there are 2 attributes and 1 method, guys. Whenever we go to the other classes, attributes are going to be very, very less actually, guys. More than 90% of them are at methods only. very few number of attributes will be there. So that's why most of the cases we are going to be in our coming classes actually, guys. If I discuss about 10 methods, I will discuss 1 or 2 attributes, I'll discuss it. Sometimes even it is 0 attributes also actually. Some classes does not have any attributes at all. Some classes does not have any attributes at all. Everything is in methods only. But slowly we'll understand how do you differentiate. Remember one simple point, guys. Whenever we are representing some property, you can see very clearly, guys, x dot real. Real is a property for that. It is going to be some specification about that particular object. So those specification or a property is nothing but an attribute. But what is conjugate is returning actually, guys? It is doing some operation. So the imaginary value is going to be just negated actually. So we are doing some manipulation, some operation. So it is going to be nothing but it is going to be method actually. So if you are working with the values, if you are doing some changes, it is a method. If you are asking some property, it is an attribute actually. That is a way which we have to understand. Okay. Now let us come to our list class, guys. List. We have been working with the list class actually now, guys. Up to now, we have been working with the list. So what are the things we have been seeing, guys? How to create a list, we have been seeing. How to create a list, we have been seeing. Second thing is going to be how to do some indexing and how to do the slicing actually, guys. It's nothing is there actually, guys. From that particular list, how to get the required elements. Do you want to get only the 4th element, or from the 4th I want to get next 4 elements? So I told you positive index, negative index, almost all 2 days we have been spent the time, guys. Almost all more than 1 day we have been spent the time on the slicing concept. Positive index, negative index, step of +1, step of -1, how to do that we have been discussed. Now guys, now let me come to our main discussion point. Actually, this is our main point of discussion, guys. X is equivalent to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, some numbers, some 40, let us say that. Now you know how to get the indexing. X of 2 is to 4, something I can know that. X of which is -1, this is slicing. -1 means the last one will get it actually, guys. X of which is going to be colon 2, starting from the beginning go up to the last with a step of 2. X of is to which is -2, starting from the right hand side coming to the last and start from the last and go to the beginning with a step of -2, which is 40, 20, something like that. We are going to be doing this actually. Something like this, we are going to be working on these applications actually. Okay. Now the thing actually, guys. Now let us come to the discussion actually. So coming to the list class, whenever I said X equals to 10, 20, 30, 40, so we know what has been happened internally. This list is also a class actually, guys, a predefined class actually, class list. It is also associated with some methods, mostly methods only, guys, no attributes are there. It's methods only, no attributes are there. Now automatically internally what happened, we seen that list X is equivalent to, which is going to be nothing but it's a new list. List X is equivalent to nothing but it is going to be new list. So automatically the X is associated with all the methods associated with the X actually, guys. Totally there are 11 methods are there. Totally, guys, there are going to be 11 methods are there. So for the time being, actually one of the main question comes is, sir, where do you use this list? Will you use this all these methods in our real applications? Being it is my first point of discussion, because this is my first object. Actually complex I discussed, but complex is generally we don't use it actually, guys, but list we are going to use this. Being our list is going to be very frequently used in our coming classes, I am discussing a little bit more and more about this particular one. So maybe 1 or 2 methods we'll use them, guys. We don't use all the 11 methods, but I said that there are 11 methods are there. So we don't use all the 11 methods, guys, but 2 or 3 methods we'll use them, guys. Regularly we are going to use them actually. So later, step by step, we'll add up the things. Today we are learning only the concepts. Today we are learning only the concepts. How to use these concepts in our real application. When you go to the next level, we'll understand the topics actually. Okay. No. In Python, we don't do that. In Python, we don't do that. In Python, the style of creating is simply, it is going to be like this. X is equivalent to X is equivalent to nothing but which is a class name. That's it. That's it. This is going to be the Python syntax. Just otherwise, we can say object is equivalent to which is going to be new class. So if you want, I can create a new object, guys. I can create an order. It's an of Java. Yes, absolutely. So if you want to create, I can create it. So see how I'm going to be creating it actually. X is equivalent to, I say, which is going to be list. But the list is empty. The list is going to be empty actually, guys. It is going to be empty actually. Even you can create it actually, guys. Instead of creating like this, we are directly creating. Do you want to create an integer? So normally you are saying I equals to 10. No, I is equivalent to nothing but it's an integer. Over. J is equivalent to nothing but it's a float. K is equivalent to nothing but it is a string. Some Z is X is equivalent to nothing but which is going to be bool. Something I is equivalent to or Y is equivalent to nothing but it's going to be nothing but it's a complex. Z is equivalent to nothing but it is going to be list. Everything you can create actually, guys. What is the type of the I? I is going to be class integer, but I does not contain any values at all. By default, it containing 0. J is containing this one. What is K contains actually, guys? Empty. K does not contain any value at all. We didn't given any value at all. Isn't it, guys? So that is a style. Even it's not only with this. Tomorrow, actually, we don't create them, guys. But tomorrow, if you create a class also, tomorrow, if you create any class also, even that particular object is also created in the same way. So this is Java style. This one is going to be Java style actually, guys. This is Java style. And Python style is going to be nothing but X equals to complex. That's it. This is Python style actually. Hope you got the difference. That's why I said that slowly we'll step by step, we are going to understand the concepts actually, guys. Okay, fine. Now let us come to the discussion, guys. Okay. X is equivalent to, it is 10, 20, 30, 40 actually, guys. So this is going to be once again, what is type of X? You can see that it is going to be nothing but it's a list. Now I'm going to tell you some few methods actually, guys, to manipulate this X. Manipulation means today you created the X with a 4, it's a 4 elements actually, length of the X. Now I want to, as I told you, no guys, list is a mutable object. Now I'm not asking any properties. I'm not asking any properties of the list. I want to do some manipulations with the list. Manipulations like you can add some elements, you can remove the elements, you want to modify some elements, something you want to do it actually, guys. So how to do all those particular operations? By using some kind of a manipulations, we have to do it actually, guys. Sorry, by using some kind of a methods, we have to do it actually, guys. Okay. So I'll share you all that documents and all these things I'll share you guys. So I'm going to tell you one by one method. How to use the method actually, guys. Object name dot. So if X is an object, if you want to manipulate with X, we have to say X dot. If Y is an object, if you want to manipulate with Y, we have to say Y dot actually. That's why I'm going to write it in a, I don't say that it is going to be the method. Okay, methods. I'm writing it as a dot method actually, guys. Very simple method, guys. The first simple method is going to be dot clear. The names are very, very user friendly, guys. Easily we can understand it. Clear is a method which does not take any arguments. No arguments it will take. What it is going to do is actually, guys. This is a method actually, guys. I said dot. Dot means it is object name dot clear. If I said X dot clear, it will clear the elements of X. If I said Y dot clear, it will clear the elements of Y. So what is clear method is going to do is actually, guys, clear does not returns anything on the screen. What it is going to do, it is going to clear. It does not clears only the first element, or it does not removes only the last element, guys. Clears all the elements from the list. Currently, we are talking about a list actually, guys. That's why we are going to be saying that it is going to be from list. That's it. If you want, I can just verify them, guys. If you want, I can verify them. Right now, X is containing 4 elements. Right now, X is going to be containing 4 elements actually, guys. X dot, I'm going to say clear. That's it. If you want, you can see the documentation actually, guys. X dot. You can see, guys, it is going to be automatically starting with C. We have multiple names are there, guys. Clear, copy, count. I'll tell you one after the another actually. X dot, which is going to be clear. Over. If you see the documentation actually, guys, if you observe carefully, within the parenthesis, no input is going. You need not to tell. Do you want to clear the first element, last element, second element, 10th element? We don't specify anything. Clear all, remove all the element from the list. But whenever I said X dot clear, don't think that it is going to return the list with empty actually, guys. Nothing is going to be written. Nothing is going to be written output actually, guys. But what has been happened, it has cleared the element from the X. So if you want to check whether it is cleared or not, you say X, it will be empty. Previously X is containing 4 elements, guys. Now X dot clear has been cleared the elements. Don't think that it will clear the elements and return the empty list actually. It won't return anything. Just it clears and just sits silently. It won't do any messages. It does not reuse any messages to you. But it has been cleared. Its operation is done in the background. So now print the value of X. We are going to get something like an empty list is going to be coming like this actually. Can you see? X is going to be empty. Clear all the elements. How many elements you take? I don't say that it removes only 4 elements, 5 elements. You give some elements actually, guys. Some elements, random. So it does not matters actually, guys. Randomly you can give some elements actually. Okay, something like whatever the elements you want to give, you can just give some kind of an elements actually. So it does not matter, guys. 27, 82, something like 38, something you can give some values actually, guys. How many elements it contains? Length of the X. Just with a simple method actually, guys. X dot clear. Your length of X is going to be 0. X is going to be empty. That's it. Over. No. It's not like it's not like a transaction. It is a permanent one actually, guys. And one more thing, this variables itself is temporary. The variables itself is going to be temporary. So everything is going to be nothing. We can't do any such kind of a rollbacks and all these things, but all these are for database. Concepts are different. In database, it is going to be your business data. So if you make any error, so you want to roll it back, something like that. But here it is programmatical part. Nothing will be affected. Everything is going to be done here. It is not done somewhere. It's not going to be done somewhere. Everything is programmatically done. So programmatically, nothing will be affected actually. Got it, guys? So which is going to be nothing but it is going to be the clear is the method actually, guys. So I'm not teaching in an alphabetical order. Actually, when you said X dot actually, guys, everything will comes with an alphabetical order. Actually, first it will start with append. The first method is going to start with append actually, guys. Append and then clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort. There are total 11 methods are there, guys. But I'm not teaching in that particular manner. I'm just teaching in an easiest way. So first one is easy, then a little bit complex and more complicated. The next one is going to be a very simple technique actually, guys. It's going to be a very simplest one actually, guys. What is that? It is going to be nothing but it's a count. One thing you please remember, guys, some methods will return some outputs. Some methods does not return any output on the screen. Clear does not return any output, guys. Success, failure, cleared, empty won't give anything. If you want to check whether it is cleared or not, go to the X, go to the object and you verify. So if you want to clear the X, you have to say X dot clear. If you want to clear the Y, we have to say Y dot clear. Okay, guys. Next, very simple, guys. I want to count how many times a particular value existing. Simply you say count and give the value actually, guys. Count is going to take some input. Clear does not take an input from you, but count is asking some which value you want to count it. Count is going to returns actually, guys. It is going to returns the, which is going to be the occurrence. It is going to returns the number of times or occurrence of that particular value in the list. So whether it is there for 1 time or 0 times or 10 times or 100 times, you want to know. Somebody has given a list. You want to know how many times a particular value is there. Simply, we are going to be using the technique, what we are going to call it as count. Currently, it is empty, guys. Currently, it is empty. So take some values. X is equivalent to 10, 20. Don't think that they should be sequential, guys. Don't think that it must be sequential, actually. You can also have a duplicate values, guys. It's not that we should not have any duplicate values. So how many times a particular value exists, it does not matter. You can have as many values we can. How many times 10 was there? Simple guys, x dot, you can see in guys, count. Open the parenthesis. Can you see guys? It is asking the value. Return the number of occurrences of a value. How many times 10 is going to be existing? No need to count it manually. 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. How many times 40 is existing? X dot count of 40. I think 40 is not there actually guys. 0 times. X dot count of minus 40, which is going to be 1 time. X dot count of which is going to be 0. It is going to be 0 times. Simple guys, it is returning something. So count is doing some manipulation, some operation. It is trying to count how many times the given value is existing. Clear is going to be trying to clear the elements of that particular list actually. All the elements, it's not just like one element, two element from the list. It is going to remove all the elements from the list. It is going to remove. Yes. Okay. So that is going to be just 2 methods actually. Yes, actually I said that there are 11 methods are there. But one of the method we are not going to learn now, that is copy. We don't learn the copy now as of now. Later, after some time there is a requirement comes, then some discussion comes. No requirement, some discussion comes, then we'll discuss about that. Okay, so we are going to learn this copy is also a common method actually guys. It's not only with the list, even in other objects also we'll see. Generally, wherever we see the copy, we'll avoid it actually guys, because there is a discussion is there. Later we'll work on that. So totally we'll learn 10 methods actually guys. As of the list, 2 methods are covered now guys. Remaining 8 methods we'll cover in the tomorrow's class. Okay, so tomorrow we'll cover the list methods guys. Then once you understand the list, understanding all the other methods is also very simple. So almost all we'll cover the tuple, sets, dictionaries, all these things in a couple of days. We'll cover it actually guys. After that we'll start with our a little bit advanced level concepts. We'll start. Okay, so that's it about the today's class guys. So just for today I'll stop it here and we'll connect in the tomorrow's class with the same time and with the same link guys. Anybody guys, any questions? If we have any questions guys, we can have a discussion.
So, for int this string, this is a class, these are the class, no?
These are
So
the classes.
we can see the source code of that, or
not
we can
source code. Actually source code will be there, but
okay.
it's going to be something different. But
Different.
I think you are you can see the complete help and all these things. So you need not to go to the source code level.
Okay.
I'll come back to that. Anyhow, whenever
Yeah, yeah.
I said help integer, if you just observe carefully what is going to be the help integer, you will get some code actually. So right click and say copy on this. You can
Okay.
double click on that. If you double click on that, it will display there only. Right click and copy this, open a notepad, and just if you paste it there. So what you can find the documentation here is, it is going to tells you that it is a help on the integer class. It is going to be help on the integer class, the class integer. We'll discuss about what is Montes.
Sir, another request is
Yes.
you mentioned some complex
Yes.
this x-axis, y-axis. You remember?
No.
I just remembering that class. So on that time, I'm searching in Google. I forgot that x plus 4j. So that concepts I forgot long back. So please explain some detail when I was telling the calculations.
We don't require it. We don't use it actually.
Okay.
Okay. So I think so.
No, because in going to data science, a lot of formulas will come. I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't think so. It is going to be. I done a complex one actually. Okay, you may have forgotten about that, but I didn't done anything. So normally, if you remember what is a plus b into c plus d,
Correct.
so it is going to be nothing but a into c plus a into d plus b into c plus which is going to be b into d. Hope you remember this formulation.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Now,
When you
correct. I'll cover it. 3 plus 4j into which is going to be 3 minus 4j actually.
4j, yeah.
Okay, 3 into 3 is going to be 9 actually. Actually, this is a plus b into a minus b.
Correct.
Okay, a square minus b square.
Yeah.
So 9 minus, which is going to be 4j square actually. So it is 9 minus, it is 16j square. What is j actually? J is equivalent to square root of minus 1.
Okay.
Now what is j square equals to?
Square root of
No. We are squaring it now. When you square
minus
it is
2.
minus 1.
Okay.
Square now. It is not 2 into it's going to be square actually. So its square root will goes off. Now in the place of j square, replace -1. So minus of minus will become plus actually. So it will become 25. There is no imaginary value, so it will be 0.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a recap. They are not complicated. Just we have to recap them. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right, guys. Neeraj, actually, basic configuration is sufficient. That means as of the current standards, basic configuration is sufficient. I recommend, that means if you want to go to some deep learning related applications, so there we have to require a little bit higher configuration is required, which we are going to be using some kind of a GPUs, because computations are going to be very heavy. Generally, they will take a lot of time, they will take it. So if you want to work only with the machine learning and all these things, basic configuration like 4 GB RAM and 4 GB, 8 GB nowadays, every system is coming with a minimum of 8 GB. So configuration is not a problem, but really if you want to go towards the deep learning research, etc., then better to buy a GPU system. And my recommendation is don't buy any high configuration as of now, because once you complete your course and after you start your research, by the time new configurations will come. So better to buy only whenever the requirement comes actually. But as of now, there is no GPU based systems are required. So normal basic configuration system, i3 processor is sufficient. So don't spend more money on that particular configuration, unnecessary. So I see a lot of people will spending some around 70K for 70K, 80K. They will buy that particular laptop. So what is the purpose of i7 processor? It's not required for us. i3 is sufficient. My configuration, guys, you see my configuration. I'm using, my system is almost all 2019 I brought it actually. So almost all 3 years back. 3+ years. I brought it in June 2019. I brought it actually. So which is i3 processor, guys. I didn't remember. It may be 7th generation or 8th generation. It is going to be 7th generation system actually. Yes. i3 7th generation. Now 11th generation is there, and my RAM is going to be 12 GB of RAM. That's it. So i3 is sufficient. i3, i7, the i3, i5. The difference will be almost 20,000 difference will be there approximately. So now the systems, the prices has been increased. I brought this system somewhere around 3 years back actually, somewhere around 34,000 I brought it actually. Now it is almost all 40,000. If you want to buy a minimum i3 system, it is 40,000. So systems prices has been drastically increased. But if you want to purchase an i5 system, minimum you have to spend somewhere around 55,000. So a difference of 10 to 15,000 difference will be there in between i3 and i5. If you want, you can afford it actually, guys. But don't go for i7. i7 will cost you around some 70,000, 80,000. They will cost you. So huge difference between the processors. Mainly processors main the cost. So only for, because see guys, maximum lifetime. So generally we buy these laptops expecting that they will work only for 1 year, not more than that. Because once 1 year is over, it depends on that 1 year, 2 years. It depends on the just first 1 year. It is going to be all the warranties and all these things will be there, unless and until it is going to be the product defect is there. For example, if something like if any water is going to be dropped on that, we don't get any warranty for that actually. So nowadays they are giving some physical damage warranties are also going to be coming, but you have to spend a little bit more money for that actually. So we always expect, that means we are in the training. We always expect that this laptop will work only for 1 year. After 1 year, at any time, if it is not working, we'll just dispose it and buy a new one. We don't make it repair also. So we'll spend only small bucks. We'll spend only small amount of money to buy this particular laptops actually, because for training purpose, we don't know when it will cost actually. Okay. So laptops are very costly. Laptops are very costly. So depending on your usage, we have to buy. So some people, I see some lot of college students actually who is doing their engineering, they will buy an i7 laptop. So the parents are affording. So their parents are affording actually. So I told so many people, so why you are buying an i7 processor for a college student actually? It is not required. So there is no utilization for that. Buy an i3. So if you want, you can buy 2 laptops for that particular cost. but they will purchase by looking at their friends, the slimness actually, how slim that particular laptop, what is a matter for the machine is a slim and something like that, low weight. Processor speed, computation must be important for us. Okay, so buy minimal laptops. Later, if you really require, then you can buy it actually. Okay, fine, guys. Fine. Yes, Satyaprakash, is it correct to quit my present job? It is difficult to spend time to practice data science. So if you really, so the thing is, it depends on your, first thing is depends on your confidence. If you are confident that you can spend more time without leaving in the middle of the course, and you will do your own practices, and you will do your own self learnings and all these things, then better you can quit your job and you can spend some more time. If you are provided with flexible timings, because income is also important, so you can just wait for another couple of months, and then if you want, you can leave the job. If you don't find that time, if you can afford that time, then better you can continue it, because two things are going to be happening. You will get the money, and as well as you can spend some time. But otherwise, if you feel that you are unable to spend more time on that, better you can quit your job and then you can take up this action. And that too depends on your confidence. Okay, you have to learn a lot of new things apart from what I explained. So you have to also learn a lot of new things also, because a lot of concepts are coming actually. So if you have some time, if you have that particular capability to learn, so better you can spend. If you are confident with your level, you can learning, you can just quit your job and spend some 6 months or something like that, and you can just get a job. Okay, fine, guys. Okay, so thank you all of you guys. It's almost 9:40. Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, at the same link, and we'll complete off all the basics by tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and then we'll start with some advanced concepts, guys. Thank you all of you for today, and we'll meet up in the tomorrow's class. Thank you all of you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.